permanent mandibular first molar. To start the carving, first we have to draw the midline on the buccal and lingual surface. Now I am drawing and separating the crown and the root, the cervical line, approximately after taking measurement. Now we have to draw the crown outline and root outlines on both buccal surface and lingual surface. I have drawn the buccal outline. Now this is the root, the mesial root and the distal root. I am drawing the left side. Now on the lingual surface, I have drawn the crown outline, similarly the root outline. After drawing the buccal and lingual outlines, we can cut off the excess wax beyond the outlines. From the buccal surface to the lingual surface, and from the lingual surface to the buccal surface. The excess wax is removed beyond the outline buccolingually. And we have to uniformly remove it. Now, after buccolingual reduction, just going onto the occlusal surface and separating the buccal half and the lingual half, carving the central groove approximately at the center, and that is a buccal surface. I have separated approximately the mesiobuccal cusp by drawing a mesiobuccal groove there. Now I am carving the cuspal slopes of the mesiobuccal cusp there. Cuspal slope is being carved. Now on the distal buccal cusp, similarly the cuspal ridges are being carved. Then the distal cusp being carved. Similarly, on the lingual surface, there's a mesiolingual cusp. Then the distal lingual cusp, the cuspal ridges, I'm carving out. Cusp ridge. To start with, now approximately I carved all the 5 cusps on the occlusal surface. Now we know premolars and molars have got marked cervical constriction. So at the cervical line, cervical 1/3 of the crown, we can remove about 2 to 3 millimeters of wax so that the curvature of the crown surface will be attained. I've done on all the aspects so that the cervical constriction will be obtained. Now approximately we have grossly carved the tooth, that's the cervical line, just carving the cervical line. Now the crown outline is being carved. This is the lingual surface, the crown. Now this is the occlusal aspect. And then the buccal surface now, the lingual surface, this is the occlusal surface. Now what we can do is that we know that the cusp has got cuspal slopes. I'm drawing the cuspal slope. That is the groove, the mesiobuccal groove which separates the mesiobuccal and distal buccal cusp. That's the buccal groove, or similarly on the lingual surface, the lingual groove separates the mesiolingual and distolingual cusp. Now I am trying to carve the cuspal slope, that's the mesiobuccal cusp, the mesial slope and the distal slope of the mesiobuccal cusp is being carved so that the cusp sharpness will be attained. Then similarly on the distobuccal cusp, the mesial slope and the distal slope is carved. And on the lingual surface, similarly, the mesiolingual cusp, we are carving the mesial and distal slopes of the mesiolingual cusp. Similarly, on the distolingual cusp, the mesial and distal slopes of the cusp is carved so that the cusp appears sharper or pointed. After pointing the cuspal slopes, see the appearance of the tooth. On the buccal surface, we can see clearly the mesiobuccal, distobuccal, and distal cusp. See the occlusal cusp from the occlusal aspect. Now, from the occlusal aspect, from the cusp tip point, I am again carving the cuspal ridges, the triangular cuspal ridges. See, that's on the mesiobuccal cusp. I'm carving down the cuspal triangular cusp. Similarly, on the distobuccal cusp, the cuspal ridges are carved. Then on the distal cusp, similarly the mesiolingual cusp, on the mesiolingual cusp, the cuspal slope, the cuspal ridges are carved towards the central fossa or the central groove region. Then on the lingual cusp, so also the cuspal triangular ridges are carved. See, now the morphology is almost over. That is a central groove which is running mesiodistally, the central groove. That's from the central groove goes the mesiobuccal cusp, then the mesiodistal buccal groove, then the lingual groove, that is a mesial triangular fossa, just distal to the mesial marginal ridge. Now the distal triangular fossa, just mesial to the distal marginal ridge. At the center, that is a marginal ridge. The distobuccal cusp, distal cusp, mesial root, distal root, the bifurcation area, the root trunk and bifurcation area. We have to carve the curvature of the roots accordingly. On the lingual surface also, to carve and taper the roots. Now almost there's a gross appearance of the tooth from the buccal aspect, the lingual aspect, the mesial aspect, distal aspect, the occlusal aspect. So mesiobuccal, distobuccal, distal cusp, mesiolingual, distolingual. Now I will polish the tooth with the cloth available, just to finish off the curvatures and the cusp. I'm using cloth to polish the tooth so that the unevenness will be gone. See the cervical line being carved on all the aspects, the lingual surface, mesial, distal aspect and buccal aspect. Then the occlusally also it's finished stage. So again, cuspal triangular ridges are carved once more to finish off, to make it more prominent. The mesiobuccal cusp and the distobuccal cusp, the triangular ridges are carved to the center. Then that's the distal cusp being carved. Similarly, lingually, the mesiolingual cuspal triangular ridges are carved. The distolingual cusp triangular ridges are carved to the central groove. It's the central groove running at the center, mesiodistally. The mesiobuccal groove, then that's the mesiobuccal groove, then the distobuccal groove. It's a lingual groove from the central groove. The lingual groove, that's the buccal side, the mesiobuccal groove with the mesiobuccal, then distobuccal groove. So triangular ridge, distal triangular fossa, a central fossa at the center. So buccal surface, that's a lingual aspect of the tooth. Mesial aspect, the distal aspect of the crown, the occlusal aspect. That's permanent mandibular first molar. Hope that this is useful to you.